Good morning, Facebook friends. Today I'm very excited because we get to do an art lesson this morning and another one this afternoon. I love art. I love all of the arts. It's my passion. I love teaching it. I love sharing that with you guys. And it is actually what I teach at my school. So it's something I'm really a lot more familiar with. So today we're going to start off kind of simple. It's something that I tell my students all the time. If they get stuck and they say they need help, I say, draw a circle. See where it takes you. So today we're going to draw a circle. And we always start with pencil. That way if we make an error and we don't like the way it looks, we can always just erase it and try again. Or you can have a happy little accident and see where your accident might take you. So it's up to you for you to decide. So today we're going to draw some circles and try and turn them into bubbles. So first things first, you get your paper and your pencil and you draw a circle. Now it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, just roundish. You draw your circle. Next, for the bubbles, you want to make a few shine marks for where the colors are going to go. And we'll go back in with markers or crayons or whatever you have available, and we can go back and add some more details with the colors. I think I'm going to add a few more. Maybe we'll have a bubble behind a bubble. Make it a little smaller because it is behind it. Now if your circles aren't perfect, like that one turned out kind of wonky, bubbles tend to wobble too, so bubbles aren't perfect spheres. All right, we're going to draw a couple more. Let's draw a few bubbles that are different sizes. Maybe the bubbles are smaller, maybe they're just further away. We don't know yet. It's whatever your creativity tells you to do. All right, I think I want to make like a trio of bubbles over here on the edge. So let's draw some more circles with some color marks. And let's make one behind this one. So it's kind of like we're stacking the bubbles. And then we'll make one behind. So for the one behind, you'll start at one bubble and make an arch to the other. Now we know that the rest of the bubbles behind these, so we don't have to draw that. All right. And if I really wanted to make it interesting, because we have our basic bubbles here that are just kind of floating around in space. Let's see if we can draw like a ground, like a horizon. Ooh, draw some ground. The ground's not even, so my line's not going to be even. There we go. And if we want to get super fancy, let's get super fancy. Let's draw some shadows. So up here, what would this shadow look like if it was on the ground? Let's think about what shadow it might make if a bubble was floating above the ground. I think it would make like a small circular shadow. We're gonna shade that in a little bit because it is a shadow and it has a different value than the other spots. So all right, and this one is connected to that one, so maybe this one has a shadow too. That's kind of connected to it. We're going to shade that in, add some value. Now there's a little bubble, so we draw a little one, but maybe it's further away, so it'll be closer to the horizon. Didn't mean to make pencil marks, handy dandy eraser. Here's one, maybe this one's a little closer. So we make a little bit of a bigger shadow. We just shade it in nice and rough. And for our trio might look a little bit different. So let's draw the first shadow mark. Shade that in. We'll draw the second one. Shade that in. And I'm going outside the lines a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it because shadows can be kind of weird. Anyway, so don't worry about going out of the lines. Now you have to decide where that third bubble is. If it is on top of the other two, it might not leave a shadow like these two. But if it's behind it, there might be a little shadow back here to indicate that there's another bubble back there. So, this is our basic rough draft of our bubbles floating around the neighborhood. Now we're gonna add some color. Will you shut the door, please? Thank you. All right. So the first thing I like to do is I like to use a marker or a crayon or a colored pencil and just kind of outline the basics of my bubbles. So I'm gonna do that. I don't wanna make a big mess, so I'm gonna try and take my time. I'm not gonna outline the color marks because I'm gonna use a colored marker to do that. But I always like to go back and outline my pencil sketch. That way it looks nice and clean and finished and professional. All right. I love drawing bubbles. It's one of the first things that I teach my kindergarten and first graders because they love bubbles. Usually I'll take them outside with some bubbles and let them blow bubbles so that they can actually look at them while they get some ideas. And they can notice and observe how the colors swirl and dance inside the bubble. And it's a really neat lesson to do outside. Gets it a little hands-on too, that way they can see the bubble, and that way when they go in to draw it, it is already in their head what the bubble should look like and how they move, how they float. Because bubbles can do very strange things sometimes, and when you think you're gonna catch one, maybe it is just going to run away from you and you have to chase it. I love chasing bubbles, that's one of my favorite things. They're just so light and free and airy. All right, I'm almost done outlining here so I can show you. Now I'm not gonna outline the shadow because it's a shadow. It's supposed to be kind of gray and opaque, and so it doesn't really need an outline, it just needs the shading. So here I've outlined my bubbles. And I'm gonna choose a few colors. I see pink a lot in my bubbles. So let's get some pink going. Not a lot of pink, just, a few. Go over a few of the lines with some pink. Just a few. Because you're going to get more colors in there. You don't want, I've never seen a bubble have just pink in it. All right, just a couple here. All right, so they're really starting to look like bubbles now, aren't they? So next, what color should we use next? What colors do we usually see in a bubble? Do we see rainbows so we could choose any color? Let's try some blue because pink and blue tend to go really nice together. They're both pastels. They're both a lot of fun to use. Oh yes, definitely the blue. And I am just tracing over my pencil marks. I'm not adding any new marks to this. Okay, so now we have some blue in our bubbles. What other color should we use? Let's try some yellow. Now I do have a neon yellow here. I'm not gonna use neon yellow. I'm gonna use more of a warmer, not quite so blaring in the face yellow. And I'm not gonna use much of it because I wanna use a couple other colors too. Look how neat those bubbles are looking. Isn't that fantastic? Another fun way to do this, Mom and Dad, is if you have some sidewalk chalk. On a pretty day, send your kids outside with sidewalk chalk to draw bubbles on the porch or on the driveway, whatever you give permission for. And that's a lot of fun to do on the outside. Chalk is a really fun way to do bubbles because you can spread it and you can blend around the colors and mix them together. You can also do that with colored pencil and crayon. I'm just using markers so that you guys are more able to see it at home. All right, so another color. I don't want to use green because I want to use green for my grass. Well, maybe there is some green. Yeah, let's add some green just on the bottoms in case it's reflecting the grass a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. All right, so now I put the green at the bottom to reflect what might any colors that it might pick up from the grass. How about purple? Purple's a fun color. Yeah, we'll finish off with purple. Next time you blow a bubble, just take a look at it and you'll see. See if you can find all of these colors that we used. So now we have our bubbles. They're quite colorful. And if you wanted to go back and add a little bit of shading to add some value to make the bubble look more 3D, that's a lot of fun too. You can do that. Just figure out which way your light's coming from. So if your sun was over here, then this side of the bubble would be white and you wouldn't add any shading, but you might add some shading like on this side. So let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. So maybe just, not much, I'm barely touching my pencil to the bubble, just to add a little bit of value. Make it look a little 3D. I'm using my finger to blend it in a little bit on the other bubble. So I just wanted you to see the options that you might have. And I love adding value. So yeah, my sun's on this side. And so I added a little value here with the shading to make it look like it's a little bit more 3D. Just if you want to get a little fancier than what we're doing. So you see how I'm drawing a little bit of pencil marks here, and then I'm going to come back and with my finger, I'm going to blend it. Blending, blending. So I'm going to blend a little on this side because I see that this bubble is overlapping this one, so there might be a shadow on it. This one might be in some shadows. And then I'll add the value on this side, so. Blending, we're blending. My favorite thing about teaching this year has been when my students finally just started blending without me even telling them they needed to. It's so much fun when kids decide that, hey, we can get our fingers dirty. Let's get a little messy. Art can be messy. So there, I'm gonna add a little more value to this one. This one doesn't look like it's quite as 3D as the other, so I add a little more pencil. Blend it, blend it. All right. So now our bubbles look a little bit more 3D, which is a lot of fun, and they have the shadows underneath them. We're off to a great start. Next, we're gonna take some green. I'm gonna use a darker green. And I'm gonna trace my horizon line. Oh, is it ever hard to trace upside down? This is interesting. I've never done this before. Oh, that's not too bad. All right, so now we know that's the ground and this is the sky. Later on, I might come back with blue to color in the sky behind the bubbles, and I would come in with green to color down here. Now, I'm not gonna do that today. That would take all day, but that could be your next step. So this is our lesson on how to turn a circle into a bubble. Now, if you get stuck anytime you wanna go and draw, just start with a circle and see where it takes you, because you never know what a circle can become. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you this afternoon for 1 Point Perspective Cityscapes. All right, bye guys. Go outside. It looks like it's gonna be a great day.